Hello dear students, welcome to my class. Today in this video we will discuss about a grammar topic. The topic you might have learnt in your schooling, but it has given importance in your professional academic life. The topic that we will discuss today is auxiliary verbs. So basically the verbs are divided into two types. They are main verbs and auxiliary verbs. We know main verbs. And again, regular, irregular, verb 1, verb 2, verb 3, verb 4, verb 5. And basically verbs have forms and verbs have particular meanings. But coming to auxiliary verbs might have taught you as helping verbs in your schooling. They do not have a particular meaning to give. But their grammatical composition to support to the main verb and to give something decoration and fruitful meaning to a particular sentence. We usually use helping verbs along with main verbs which have actually real meanings. In English, we have 14 helping verbs in which auxiliary verbs majorly divide into two types as primary helping verbs and secondary helping verbs. Primary helping verbs are three. You know why it is divided into two types? Because primary helping verbs sometimes act as main verbs. Most of times we feel they are main verbs because they do have some unique sense of meaning, but they do not have particular meaning. Let's learn about primary verbs today. Primary verbs are three types. They are be forms, have forms, do forms. First is be forms. Be forms again divide into two types. One is past, present form and past form. Present be forms are am, is, are. Past be forms are was, were. All primary helping verbs are used in 5 composition sentences, in 5 sentences. All primary helping verbs. Positive, negative, question positive, question negative, question tag. They are only used in 5 types of sentences only. Let's have an example. I am a teacher. So there is no main verb here. Am is acting as main verb. Otherwise, I'm going to college. Going is a main verb and helping verb is am supporting going. I'm going to college. It's a positive sentence. I'm not going to college. It's a negative sentence. Question positive. Am I going to college? Question negative. Am I not going to college? Question tag. I'm not going to college, aren't I? So this is how giving support to the main verb. If am is acting as main verb, I'm a teacher. I'm not a teacher. Am I a teacher? Am I not a teacher? I'm a teacher, aren't I? This is how it goes on. The next form, do forms. Most of times all these 3 do forms act as main verbs because they do have sense of meaning in it. And majorly do forms are used in yes or no question forms. I do my homework. I don't do my homework. Do you do your homework? Don't you do your homework? I do my homework, don't I? This is how it goes on, like uh, did you do your homework yesterday? She does her homework. He does her homework. He does his homework. We do our homework. We do homework. So these are do forms. The next one is have forms. Have, has, had. Have, has are used in present tense. Had is used in the past tense. The same is applicable. Positive, negative, question negative, and question tag. The next one is secondary helping verbs. They are 14. Can. Can is actually used to give possibility and ability of something, and it also used to make some requests. It is also used to ask for or give permission. For example, I can help you next week. Possibility. There is a possibility that I can help you. There is a possibility that I have ability to help you. If it is a request, can you help me next week? Can you help me now? Request. If it is like asking for giving permission, can you help me next week? Can you help me now? So majorly we can use it in semi-formal way. The next modal auxiliary is could. So can, could go together. Can is used in the present tense. Could is used in the past tense. Basically it shows past abilities, past possibilities. And also request. Request is used here more formal. Let's say in a formal way could is used. And could is also used to show the ability of using it. For example, I could climb trees when I was a kid. It is actually showing the possibilities, abilities, and the person was able to. The possibility was that he was able to climb trees. The ability was he was able to climb. And the action completely happened in the past tense. If it is the request, could you pass on the pen to me, please? See, showing more formality in our sentence. The next one is will. Will and would go together as like they are siblings. The helping verb will talks about present and future with certainty of making some decisions. It also talks about giving requests in semi-formal manner. And it also gives in a sentence making some promises or giving some threats. For example, we'll build it in 2 years. So that is in the future. It is something certain decision. It gives it. And if it is something making semi-formal request, will you kindly do this work for me? Will you do this work for me? It is a semi-formal request in it. The next one is would. Would is completely used in the past tense, past action habits. And it also gives some polite requests in it in a softer manner. And one thing we have to remember, would is used in if condition, in conditional clauses. Something imagined, something was unreal situation. See, for example, if I were a bird, I would fly high in the sky. See, it is not realistic one, it is unreal, though it is, would is used in it, imaginable. We would bunk classes whenever we felt bored. It was the past action with certain decisions. That how you used to be when you were in the class. The next one is shall. Shall and should go together. They are siblings. Shall is used for making offers, making suggestions. For example, we shall come out of this situation. Should, another helping verb, another modal auxiliary. Should is used in giving advices and orders. The obligation is, it is actually weaker form to use must. Must is a masculine and should is a feminine. Example, it should be finished on time. So it is an order. If it is advice or something else, it goes with. And the obligation is, it is a weaker form. It should be finished on time. It can be completed on time, it may not complete it on time. It is not a particular order that there is a deadline to complete it. The next two words, a pair of words is may, might. So the word may is used in taking about things that can happen in certain situations. For example, that may happen. There is a certainty in the situation that may happen. So you may start writing now. If I tell you, you may start writing now, there is an obligation that you, if you want to write, you can. If you don't want to write, you don't write. There is a clear information instruction given from me that you wish, you write. You don't, you don't. The next helping verb is might. It is completely used in the past tense. That saying that something was possible but did not actually happen. They might buy a house. వాళ్ళు ఇల్లు కొని ఉండవచ్చు. There was some, see, there was no certainty that happened. The next auxiliary verb is must. So it is the high peak word to helping verb should. So there is a necessity and obligation, strong advice and invitation saying something should, I mean, must happen in certain. For example, you must have a passport to cross the border. If I tell you, you should have a passport to cross the border, there is another way that you can cross the border without passport. If I tell you, you must have a passport to cross the border, so there is no other option unless you have a proper passport to cross it. Now you understood how to use should and must. The next one is ought to. Ought to has the same meaning as should, but particularly in affirmative statements in present, this is used. So basically people use you should get your hair cut. You should get your hair cut. But people don't use you ought to get your hair cut, because we are not used to use ought to. In affirmative, in a good way, in a formal way, we say you ought to get a haircut. But we are not to get used to it. We are only get used to use the word should. Should is much more common and an easier way to say. So if you are not sure to use ought to, you better use the word should. The next word, the last word is used to. So it is basically used to express an action that took place in the past, but not now, which is continuing at the present situation and no longer to use in a customary. For example, we used to take long vacation trips with the whole family. Yeah, but it was a past action, it was a past customary perhaps, but that is no longer to continue now. In this way we use used to. Hope, dear students, you have understood modal auxiliary verbs, primary and secondary. Try to use in day-to-day life properly, and I will send you the link to do this exercise and do the exercise properly. Thank you. Have a good learning.